Hey everybody, Chuck here. Hope you're having a great day here. Gonna start a series, I guess I'd call it, as part of the I don't want to wait 48 years to learn what you learned, but I want to start moving over to specific topics that we run into in supply chain and back at work, and what should be the standard processes or generic processes we should consider doing when they occur, as well as a couple notes and that stuff. So let me bring up the screen here. I've got it up on the screen here in kind of written form, and that's totally cool. We're not trying to get very sophisticated here, but I did want to, comment on this. And I know you can read as well as I can, so I'm not going to reread these necessarily, but kind of add some comments in. So one of the biggest ones we run into in sourcing is when the supplier is late. And that's really a big deal because if they're late, then we've got to catch up on the time, and that can be a scramble in the process here. So if it happens, this is my thoughts, 1 through 8, on what we should be looking at. Number one, when we're going to run out. Number two, what are the affected orders? To know what we have to do and with what urgency, we need to figure out, hey, if I've got 2,000 on hand and I use 200 a day, I'm going to run out in 10 days. So when I'm working with the supplier to resolve this, while I want to put it on their shoulders to solve it, I know what my deadlines are, and that firms things up on our side that says this is the drop dead date that's got to be taken care of. As well, on number two, make sure you get a hold of sales right away, update them on what's happening so they can get a hold of the customers. Let's stay proactive on this whole thing and out ahead, and customers will appreciate it. Number three, put it on the shoulders of the supplier. What are you going to do to get it here on time? This is when I run out. This is the ramifications. I probably did not cause this. You did, although you got to find a way to say that, but let them know what those dates are, and this is what's got to be met. So you like number four says, you figure out a date, start working at the same time. Let them know you're serious. Is what are they going to do to prevent this from happening in the future? So this is the corrective action process. We're really putting it back on their shoulders to take ownership over it is what we're doing here. But then we'll update the software. We'll let all the parties know. We'll mark the calendars to follow up. And we're going to continue working with the suppliers as we go forward. And a couple notes on the bottom here that you can read as well. It's their responsibility to be proactive about this. They own it to meet our commitment. They said this is what they're going to do. This is their business. They own running their business. And so if they make a mistake or error or something fails with best intentions, it happens. They still own, here's what we're going to do about it. Okay. So, like the second bullet says also, assuming you got your order in on time, they accepted it. You shouldn't have to pick up any additional costs with recovery because it's not a case of fault. We're not getting into fault or blame here, but they're the supplier. It's their accountability and responsibility. And like I said, if you do have to incur the expense, which is reasonably possible, you maybe want to start having conversations internally about, is it time to start looking for a new supplier because our current supplier isn't standing behind their words and what they're saying. Again, it's not a right or wrong. It's a case of they're the supplier, they own that side of the conversation here. Okay. And like the last statement says, again, push on them to say, as soon as you know, you have to let us know right away. It's not okay to fall into the conversation of after the fact, we find out there's going to be a problem. Now I got to scramble. They own it just like you own getting a hold of your customers when something happens to it. So again, I know I've said it 2 or 3 times, but I think it's so important to remind people this isn't about fault and blame. It's about accountability and responsibility and taking ownership over your part of the conversation. So I hope you find, in these statements some thoughts and ideas. We're not going to finish up with any grand statements or anything like that, but I hope it gets you starting to think about how you want to operate in your business when some of these events coming up. So this is just the first one looking at suppliers being late.